Namaste. Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and I am back with your tarot card of the year readings for 2022. I have done a few already, and those were broadcast last night. And I have created a playlist for these readings, and you'll be able to watch and review all of these at your leisure. Today, we're going to look at 14, 15, 16, and then I'm going to come back a little bit later this evening and do a few more. So let's have a look at Temperance for those of you that have this 14th Arcanum as your tarot card for 2022. I am using the Sacred Bee, Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot. And in this deck, the 14th Arcanum is called Alchemy. This is a card that is traditionally a blend of water and fire. And we're looking to find a balance and a harmony. The card underneath is the Lover's card. 2022 is a 6 years. So I'm looking at the major arcanum in relation to how it may be a little different in a 6 year. So alchemy, what does it mean? Temperance, alchemy. Well, to me, this is one of the cards where it's our turn to step forward, to take some action, to do something about our own health and our own wellness. I often refer to this card as a healing card. So this is a card where you have a choice. Can be really practical. It can be something like learning how to, or playing with synergies of essential oils, paying more attention to the food that is on your plate, learning how to blend teas and so forth, but also looking at balance in your life, balance in what you read, what you watch, where you go, who you associate with. Hello, Mary Beth. So this is, it's a card that I feel it's kind of an up to you sort of card. Spirit is inviting this opportunity of, what should we say? Like it's an opportunity to get with it, right? To get with the program, to know that this is not entirely in the hands of the divine and that you do have some control over what your day-to-day life looks like. And for some reason or other, Spirit is saying this is the year to pay attention to this. So the card underneath is also a card of balance. And with these two cards, one on top of the other, kind of intermingling their energies throughout this year, it's going to be unavoidable. Balance is not going to be a choice. And when you are not paying attention, this is kind of when Spirit quite literally takes you to your knees and says, okay, it's time for you to step up and I'll use the example of start eating better, or just paying attention. This is the kind of prescription where someone says, okay, well, stop eating your meals, watching Netflix, and be more mindful so that you know when you are full or not full, or you even know what things taste like. Another way this comes into play is, I want to say, if we're talking about spirituality, we don't want to go too far in any one direction. So let's talk about like sacred space for an example. When I create sacred space, I want to make sure there's a balance of energies. I do have places that are dedicated to a fairy altar, for example, but my main space, which is behind me right now, is fairly well balanced. I have obvious matchings and pairings of black and clear crystals, black and white crystals. I have a corner that feels a lot heavier, that is earthy, elements that represent the air. There's always fire and water. And so when I look around my room right now, there's an attempt at alchemy all the time. And the Lover's card wants you to play with, I want to say, to play with your masculinity, to play with your femininity in a way that you're comfortable in your wholeness. So it's a big theme for you for 2022. Mary Beth says this is your card of the year, but you had reduced it to the Hierophant. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a magical. It's a magical card. So in this spread, I have divided the deck into suits, and so everyone will get one card from each suit. This is the suit of fire. So we're going to start with that. Temperance is associated with Sagittarius, and so if Sagittarius is your sun sign, or you have a lot of Sag other places in your chart, moon, ascendant, then it might feel a little bit, what do I want to say? It might feel like a bit of a banner year, actually. Okay, so in the suit of fire, which is the element for temperance, alchemy, this is a card we have seen already in a previous reading, is the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands, of course, is the end of a cycle. And this card, this deck uses Thoth keywords. But I want you to look at the artwork and the relationship between the human in shadow in the background and the hive that we see here in the foreground, the flowers that have been parched, either by the sun or by neglect of the farmer. And so when I look at this card and when I look at the two cards in the center, what we're obviously not seeing here is balance and an awareness of balance. The Ten of Wands is a result of excessiveness. And so this card is reminding you that in this year, it is indeed important to not be going too far in any one direction. The card in the suit of water, just cut that for you right now, might help to provide some medicine, or it's also a 10. Okay, it's also a 10. Big numbers. So we have double 10s here, which would say to me that you are at a place. Okay, so how can I put this? The theme is balance. The theme is alchemy. You are approaching the end of a cycle. So 2022 is a year about winding things up. And in winding things up, being mindful of, so sometimes when we feel we have been excessive, we go 180 degrees in the other direction. And what I want to suggest is that instead of going 180 degrees in the other direction, you just back off a little bit. You don't have to do things completely different. This is about responding sooner rather than an impulsive reaction to your excessiveness. So you observe the excessiveness and you go, okay, well, next time this happens, I'm going to do this. Or perhaps there's a more mindful way of setting yourself up for success. You know, like maybe we're talking about Netflix versus getting out for walks and things like that. So maybe you decide that for every other month, you're going to unsubscribe from Netflix or something like that, right? Rather than saying, oh, I'm going to cancel Netflix for the whole year. This is about moderation, not about completely restricting yourself and cutting yourself off from anything. Because we need to learn about joy, and joy and the relationship with the devil is the next card. So the practice this year is to practice the balance and to be aware of things a lot sooner. Okay, so another balance card. Six of Discs. Six of Discs. Intuitively, what I'm feeling here is that the practice of temperance might be a lot easier if you do this with others. So you might want to join a group or to invite a neighbor to partake in some of the things that you choose to practice balance in this year. The Six of Discs, sixes are heart-centered cards. They're full of love. They're full of beauty. And in this particular one, we focus on the giving and receiving of the physical, of tangible things, the sharing of food, the sharing of, I don't know, your craft projects, maybe the sharing of tasks that, or the energy that it takes to create something. So maybe you're partaking in an activity together. And this will feel really good because when we're talking about the Lover's card, this is the element of air, this is the element of fire. We want to touch the heart space. We want to touch the heart space. We don't just want to make this intellectual or excessively emotional, because sometimes when we're focusing on balance, it can become those two things. And so the message in the Discs card, the Pentacles, is to share in the task. Right? It could be with anyone. It could be with, I don't know, a child of a neighbor down the hall. You never know what little gesture will be responded to. So this might be also about you stepping out on a limb and making an invitation that it never would have occurred to you to make. Okay. In the Suit of Swords, how you approach this with your voice and your thought will make a difference. Is a Queen. The Queen. And you can see her face in the background behind the sword. This looks very much like an Ace of Swords. And it's purple. It's purple. And when I see dark purple, I think of quiet. I think of quiet contemplation. I think of focus. And when I see the Queen of Swords here, who is the air of water, we have this same balance again. So, sorry, this is water, this is fire, water, fire. I said something incorrectly earlier. Why was I thinking air? I'm not sure. The Lover's card is Yes. So the Lover's card is Gemini, which is air. That's right. So we have air and fire. And so that's why I was saying the grounding is really important, because the Cups card here is not really going to help you out. It's going to feel excessive. Okay. So how can the Queen of Swords energy support you this year? And I feel that energy is going to bring you back to task. It's going to help with focus. What I feel, there's something here that's missing though, and we're going to look at the Oracle cards in a second. It's really important not to over-intellectualize the process of alchemy. We can do these practices, these exercises in whatever part of your life you're introducing balance and temperance and alchemy, through trusting your intuition, through feeling your way through it, and know that it's okay to make mistakes. We don't have to do things perfectly, right? We can learn as we go, and we can learn as we grow. I'm going to pull an oracle card for each of the each of the positions here. So in the suit of fire, I'm shuffling the sister oracle to this tarot deck, and we'll pull a card for you there. All right, so this abundance of emotion. Ooh, this is kind of a cool card. You know what this reminds me of? Have you ever seen that movie, Roman Holiday? That's an old movie with Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant. And it's in Rome. And there is the wall of truth, the place of truth, the wall of truth. And you stick your hand in the mouth, and she plays a joke on him, or he plays a joke on her, and pretends that his hand is cut off or bitten off. So this reminds me of. Keyword is courage. And the element, I'm assuming the element is fire. I can't even see it on the card. Okay. So what does courage have to do with the 10 of Cups? I feel as if navigating the emotional waters of learning how to reset and bring everything back into balance can be exhausting. It can be exhausting. And we need to remember that inner strength is always there. That inner resource is always there. And the alchemy card is composed of both fire and water, the strength of the divine feminine, the strength of the divine masculine. And when we are feeling or leaning a little too far in any one direction, sometimes if we trust in spirit, whatever that means for you, and get out of our own way, things can be a lot easier. For me, the courage and trust are inseparable. And often courage is associated with action and doing and will and force. But I encourage you to treat it with a little more delicateness, and understand that courage can be something really spiritual. Hi, Janet. It's lovely to have you here as well, too. Okay. The deck that I'm using to pair with the suit of fire is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. Okay, so we're looking at a snake. The keyword is underworld. This feels very shamanic, very, very shamanic. Okay, what I mean by that is we are in this card traveling, journeying through a form of meditation to a place where we can heal. And symbolically, the snake has so many symbols. I feel what I was just saying about trust might be a key to all of this. Because the snake is about shedding the skin, it's about a rebirth, it's about a transformation. And whether we are journeying shamanically, or we are meditating, or we are doing other practices to help with our own growth. The snake has a way of revealing our underbelly. And it can take us also back to our childhood. Okay, so here I think I've got a nugget here for you. So this practice of alchemy, that is your process for this year, may have started in your childhood. And I want to invite you to be really kind with yourself as you navigate slowly, wind your way through learning to do things differently this year. Yeah. Okay, supporting the suit of discs is the Soul Trees Oracle. Six of Discs. So perhaps this card can tell us more about the exchange of goods, the exchange of information that is so necessary in bringing alchemical balance this year. Okay. Balance. Balance. There we go. Let's just, and then look at the color. So this is more of a lilac color, not as deep and rich as the one that we see on the Queen of Swords above. But ultimately, remember that these acts of balance are not only about the physical body. This is about the emotional and ultimately the spiritual body, which will lead you to a beautiful place where life is a lot easier, a lot lighter. And it's interesting that courage over there on the other side, I was talking about trust. Because once we learn to trust, we can really start to embrace this higher frequency that takes us into and closer to our spiritual life. And look at this also too. I was talking about the shamanic journeying and going into the underworld. There's something about, I want to say, well, I'm just going to say what came into my head, and that was making yourself naked. So bearing, allowing yourself to be vulnerable feels really, really important here. And then here we have a trust card. We have the Hand of Fatima, referred to as Hamsa. The third eye is in the palm. And this is paired with the Queen of Swords, okay, which really just kind of repeats the message. But be mindful that even though the Queen of Swords' intuition is really, really good, and we need to just keep checking in that we do this in steps. So you gain the information and then you let go. And then the next time you start to learn a little bit more about something, you gain the information and you let go. Because this process in each of our bodies, spirits, minds, souls, all of our layers is going to be different. So take this in baby steps and be really gentle with yourself this year as you create space for balance and temperance and alchemy. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave you with that, and I will be back shortly with a reading for the 15th Arcanum. Take good care of yourselves. Namaste.